What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video that I am personally very excited to film for you guys. I got my hands on the new Tower 28 Sunny Days Tinted Sunscreen, the one that everyone has been raving about, and I am so excited to try it. So this is going to be my first time trying it, so it's going to be a first impressions, a demo, and then I'm going to do a wear test for you guys so I can fully round my thoughts for you. But before we get into the video, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel for more relatable beauty content, and let's just get into the tinted sunscreen. So I did not pay for this with my own money. It was sent to me through the Octoly app, which is for creators, where they can try products in exchange for review. But I will say, if I did not get this through Octoly, I was planning on purchasing it during the Sephora sale. I did talk about that in my previous Sephora wishlist video. If you're curious, you can check that out. But I was really excited to get this technically in PR. So it came with a little insert here. And let me just tell you that this sounds right up my alley. It came with like a whole, let me just show you, super cute. All about Tower 28 and the product, but basically it is a SPF 30 mineral, all mineral sunscreen, so there's no chemical filters in here. It is approved by the FDA, the European sunscreen standards. It's derm tested, phototoxicity tested, and it says that none of the other SPFs in standard have that testing. It says that it's a light, medium buildable coverage. There are 14 flexible shades, a natural finish that's not too dewy, too matte, no white cast or oxidation, which can be an issue with mineral sunscreens because it's more of a physical block against the sun, whereas chemical sunscreen filters bounce the sun back. But it says that you can use this as the last step of your skincare or first step of your makeup. For lighter coverage, apply with fingers and blend out. For medium coverage, tap on and layer as needed. Use fingers, damp beauty sponge, foundation, or stippling brush. So basically you can use this in whatever way you want. It has some great ingredients in here. Prickly pear that is soothing, white sage, aloe vera, and it has 12.6% zinc oxide, which is really good for a makeup. The first thing that stood out to me is that I love the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint a lot, and this description really reminded me of that, so I just knew right away that'd be a product I would really like. I'm going to prime my face before we get started because it's been a few hours since I did my skincare, and I just feel like my face could use some extra hydration, so I'm going to go with my trusty old Good Molecules silicone-free priming moisturizer. I just feel like this mixes well, it meshes well with every foundation. It is a little bit thicker, but I just want my skin to be nice and hydrated. I know that a lot of people don't use a primer when, you know, doing foundation reviews, but it's just not realistic for me to go in with a foundation when my skin's not really like hydrated. I usually either have fresh skin from doing my skincare, or I put on a primer. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I feel like I have like a lion's mane. I just use the Amico Waver to do my hair. It looks good, but it's a little bit large. I zoomed you in a little bit for the application. So this is the shade 05 Fairfax. Like I said, this comes in 14 shades. They're supposed to be shade adjustable. This is the lightest shade. So I will say that the shade I was really going for was 15 Melrose, which is light with neutral undertones, and this is fair. There's one in between that's like light with yellow undertones, but I'm definitely not yellow. And I was worried that this would be way too light for me, so I forgot to show you the applicator. It's like a, I don't know what you call this kind of applicator, but I'm not really self-tanned right now. It's kind of wearing off. And maybe I'm more fair than I thought, because this looks like a pretty accurate match for me. And I didn't know if it was just because I was in like a weird lighting yesterday when it came in the mail, but I think that's actually gonna work for me really well. I don't know if it'll work for me when I'm really tan, but for winter, which we're coming into right now, I think that's gonna be perfect. A lot of times with this type of product, like the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint, it's got kind of a thin, really workable texture. I will just go in with my fingers. I'm gonna do half my face with my fingers, and then I'm gonna do the other half with a brush because the last couple months have been really not into sponges and more into brushes. So that's what I'm gonna do. I usually use my fingers or a brush. Looking close up and rubbing this in, I think it might be just a little bit light for me on my face, but my face, I'm kind of hot right now in the sweater. My face is just a little bit red. I tend to get red in my face in general, but it's rubbing into the skin really nicely. And if I need to get a new shade, that is not the biggest deal. It is $30 for 1 ounce if I didn't mention that. So that is a very competitive price, especially at Sephora for something like a skin tint. I mean, that's not that much more than like drugstore foundations at this point. Alright, as you can see, so far it's looking pretty nice. This side of my face is just struggling more with a little bit of breakouts. I did not expect that this type of product would cover them up. It's like light to buildable coverage, but what I normally would have done is probably cover those up first, but I didn't want to, you know, take away from the experience of using this for the first time. But I think that is a nice first layer. It kind of evened out my skin. But you can see a little bit of redness popping through. I do not have perfect skin, so I do have things to cover, but I also like a medium. I don't really like a super full coverage foundation because I feel like that can sometimes emphasize, you know, the issues that are there. So that is the finger side. Then I'm going to take a little bit more, really like the applicator, and then I'm going to use this Luxie foundation brush. Just really work it into the brush. It's my favorite way to use a brush. And then go ahead and apply it that way. That's looking really nice. Right off the bat, I think I like the brush better. I just like brushes in general. I don't use my finger a ton unless I'm like have limited time and resources, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's looking really nice. I think the brush definitely gives more coverage, but that's what the description described. Okay, maybe it's just that side of my face is like struggling less, but I definitely like this side over this side. So I think I'm just gonna go add a little bit more to build it up and then just use a brush on my entire face because that's just my preference. But you can see like it leaves a really dewy finish on my hand. I'm gonna work a little bit more into my brush and then just try to build it up like on my cheeks where I have redness. I didn't mention as well, I did already put sunscreen on because it's about 1 p.m. right now and I wanted to have sunscreen on already, but I just don't like the pressure of having to apply a certain amount of makeup because that's my only form of SPF, so I like to usually wear an SPF under regardless of the SPF that's in the makeup because I don't want to feel pressure to apply a lot of this because that's my only form of SPF, if that makes sense. Okay, I think I'm done blending for now. I want to show you a close-up before I do anything else with my makeup. I think it looks really nice. I think I have to play with it a little bit to see. It almost looked like it was going to pill a little bit with like the sunscreen and the primer that I wore, but I think we're okay. My skin is just going through it like in my nose and this area, so it's definitely emphasizing some problem areas around there. But other than that, like it looks really nice. It's definitely a dewier finish. It feels tacky. I think if you don't like sort of a satin dewy finish, you might not like this. It's definitely not matte in the least. And I will probably set this with a little powder even though I'm not a powder girl. I'm going to zoom you back out there and I'm just going to put on a little bit more makeup to finish the look. I pulled out some Tower 28 products because I feel like what better products to test this out with than the products it's meant to be used with, I would assume. And I'm not going to do my eye makeup because I'm also filming a demo of the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow today, so that's what I'm going to be putting on my eyes for a different video. So I'm going to be going in with a little bit of the Bronzino bronzer in West Coast. As you can see, this is a very well-loved product by me. It's a great, just glowy bronzer. It looks super shimmery, like it wouldn't look good as a bronzer, but somehow it just looks amazing on the cheeks and I love it. Look how gorgeous. It's just so like subtle but beautiful. And then I also have a Tower 28 blush. It is the Beach Please blush in Magic Hour. Let me show you this shade. It's kind of a nude shade. I've been wanting to show this shade some love because Jessica Brown was just raving about it and reminded me to use this blush again. Just gonna take this Phytosurgeon's brush and stipple that in. This is such a good... I forgot how good that shade is. I know this isn't a review of these other products, but that's just such a nice like nude blush. And those products are blending over the foundation really nicely. I'm going to add some concealer in a few areas that I just want a little bit more coverage on these blemishes here. Yeah, I'd say the only places it's really emphasizing things is right in here, but that's just, my skin is just really going through it right now. So if you have like texture on your skin, breakouts, things that are healing, just be aware that it might emphasize those. I'm also not super surprised because thinking about mineral sunscreen formulas, they just tend to be a little bit, they just cling, the zinc in there just clings to any texture, and it seems like they kind of sink in over time. So I have a feeling once I wear this, it'll kind of warm up and sink into my skin and look a little bit better. I'm going to blend in that concealer. I think paired with like a medium to full coverage concealer, that looks really nice. There's a lot better coverage in just some areas that I wasn't quite sure about. I'm going to throw on one of my favorite lip glosses of all time, the Tower 28 lip gloss in Fearless. It looks scary because it's purple, but it's just gorgeous. We're keeping it simple because I feel like that's what Tower 28 is all about, is like simple, wearable, glowy makeup. I don't think I'm going to set it right now because I just don't want to emphasize any other areas of texture on my skin, but here is the final look with the bronzer and blush and lip gloss. I think it's looking really nice. I didn't feel the need to wear a highlight because this is actually really glowy, and so are the other cheek products. These two give a lot of glow, so I just didn't feel the need to add a highlight, but I think it looks really nice. And I think, like I said, it kind of warms up on your skin after a few minutes, and it's looking already better in this area. So final thoughts on this as first impressions go. I like this better with a brush. It's definitely more light to medium coverage, and you're going to get more coverage with a brush. The shade 05 Fairfax is a teeny bit light for me, but honestly, blended in, I think it looks really nice. And I would say that these shades are flexible, which is really nice, especially with 14 shades. It should be enough for everybody to find a shade. I'm really impressed with the, you know, it being an all mineral formula. At first I thought it was kind of emphasizing texture, but I think it sinks into the skin over time. You can definitely build up the coverage, and I think paired with a more medium to full coverage concealer for blemishes like I have, it looks really, really nice. This is definitely not something that I'm going to be reaching for on super glam days, but on days where I want a lighter coverage, something that's really easy to throw on either with fingers or a brush, it can really be applied in any way, which is nice. I also love the squeezy tube packaging because it's going to be perfect for travel. You know, it's not going to break, and $30 for an ounce is a very affordable price for Sephora, and I love the purple packaging. That's why I wore this kind of purple shirt, but I am really impressed by this so far. Right now it is, I have hospital time, military time, but it is 1:50 in the afternoon, and I know that's late, but I work this weekend, so I will be staying up late tonight, so I'm going to keep my makeup on to try to do check-ins with you guys. It will be getting dark early, so we might not have the best lighting, but I'll just come back in my beauty room. I'm not planning on going anywhere today, and I will do some check-ins with you guys. All right, check-in time. It's been about 3 hours, which I know is not that long, but I'm trying to use up the little bit of daylight. It's very gloomy, so I have minimal daylight, but I just wanted to update you guys. I did kind of glam up my makeup a little more. I added a little bit more concealer under my eyes. I powdered just a little bit with the Hourglass powder, their loose powder, because I knew that that would not emphasize any dryness. And then I added some like powder blush and bronzer and stuff like that. But other than that, the foundation itself, I did not touch up at all. It's looking really good. I'm gonna zoom you in here. My cheeks look really good. I'm not sure what happened there. That's like more of a blush issue. The other side looks fine. And then the only thing is like right here, like it's collecting in my nose and looks a little dry like around my mouth. But I'd say in general, my skin has been struggling in those areas, and my foundation does tend to collect around my nose. That's nothing new. It looks really good on my forehead, on my cheeks. Yeah, so far so good. I was on the couch eating Cheetos, and we're having wings tonight, so I will come on later and tell you what we're looking like. This is gonna be my final check-in. It is going on almost 10 p.m. so it's been about 8 hours since the foundation has been on. It's not looking bad, just my skin here. It's looking really dry in certain light, but not terrible. Some of the coverage has worn off, like here and here, but I think I tend to do this. I tried as much as I could to like not mess with my face too much, but this is after like eating spicy wings, wiping my face, you know, your nose runs, you eat spicy wings, on the couch watching Netflix, you know, like Charlie licking my face. And overall, I don't think it looks terrible, and I don't think that you would expect like tinted sunscreen to be like something that you would wear for 12, expect it to wear for 12 hours or anything like that. But overall, I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks really nice. Next time I probably just wouldn't set it, just because my skin right now personally is really dry and just doesn't need any powder. So, but overall, I think this foundation is awesome. It's really skin-like, it's beautiful, it's easy to apply, it's great for every day. Probably not for a super glam look, but I don't think that's what anyone is looking for with this, and looks really nice. So that's it for my review, demo, and wear test of the Tower 28 Tinted Sunscreen. Definitely let me know down below in the comments if this is a product that you think you'll be picking up. I definitely recommend it if you're into this type of light coverage. Tinted SPF is very, very nice. As always, like this video and subscribe to my channel, and we will see you in my next video. Bye.